For a series like this, it would have been really easy to just go with Silent Alarm, which is often regarded as Bloc Party's best album, as their magnum opus. And while I agree that, yep, it is their best, I do think A Weekend in the City just doesn't get enough love. I would go as far as saying it's underrated, and it really does baffle me how back when it came out and currently that it just doesn't seem to get the same sort of appreciation. And the reason that baffles me is just because I think it does a lot of the stuff that Silent Alarm does pretty well, and at some points I think it does it even better. I think they really did start to progress a lot more in a very interesting way. Social commentary is on point as ever. Songs like Hunting for Witches were very relevant back in the day, with all the talk about media manipulation, something that is even more relevant as it is now, considering the internet is more prevalent than it was back when this album dropped. The bit at the start of this with the channel hopping, and just it slowly becomes more melodic, and how the rest of the song starts to like build upon it. I just think it's genius, just the only word that comes to mind when I'm trying to describe it. Call me out on this if you want, I think Uniform is the best track that Bloc Party have ever put out. How it kind of like calls out like the stale capitalist system, how everyone sort of looks the same even though we're told that there's all this variety, and just again how the song evolves. I think when it comes to all these songs starting to blossom and whatnot, I think that Bloc Party were trying to push themselves in that regard, and on this song especially, I think pretty much every member really just shows how good they are, why they deserve to be on this song, especially Matt Tong on drums, one of the best drummers ever in my opinion, something I know is probably popular amongst a lot of people, but thought I just had to say that. And it was just confirmation that at the time Bloc Party were doing this sort of socially aware indie rock better than anyone at the time, and I would say just in the grand scheme of just musical history, I think there's very few bands that managed to do it as well as they did. There's so many segments on Uniform that I would consider highlights, but the big one is maybe on the third verse, where Kelly is just sort of trying to channel this like authoritarian figure, or this big fat cat in the capitalist state, basically saying like, oh, why are you trying to fight it, why are you trying to think, like what was it's so futile. And then there's this robotic voice saying like, you've got entertainment, you've got all this stuff to distract you. Again, I thought it was just another really amazing touch that in the wrong hands could have really came off as cheesy or just really jarring, but I think that how it gets incorporated into this song at large is just really smart. Waiting for the 719 is one of the more reserved cuts on here, but I think it's easily one of the best ones as well. How it talks about just basically about work, like the whole thing's like about waiting on your bus and kind of like looking at everyone else having fun and going, I'm yearning for these times. It's something that like people of all ages can kind of sort of relate to, and I love how the outro of this song, which is going, let's drive to Brighton on the weekend, is such a small goal in the grand scheme of things, but the way that the band flesh this out with the accompanying like Killers-esque synths, I would say, just feels really epic and triumphant. It makes it feel just as fulfilling as it would if you were actually doing it, even though if you just heard a random person talk about it, you kind of like brush it off as just being really minuscule. Just the way that Bloc Party managed to distill all this noughties, angst and all this resentment and all these problems, a lot of which are still prevalent now, and I would say this album is still as relevant now as it was back in the noughties. Just even more so even. It just makes me think that as a crying shame that it didn't seem to get the same critical acclaim or just the same sort of kind of like iconicness that Silent Alarm did. Just really sucks, but hopefully if you guys have only checked out Silent Alarm and you thought, oh, I've heard the band went off, this album's good. I would say even Intimacy and 4 are good, but this is like really good, like close to being a 10 as well for me. But if you've listened to it, let me know what you think. Do you think it is pretty disappointing? Just let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another Christmas cracker. But stay safe and stay hydrated.